Hi everyone, we all know the feeling, waiting for the right moment. We've all told ourselves that we'll start tomorrow, next week, or when the time is right. But the truth is that perfect moment you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. No matter how much we plan or wait, we'll never have everything lined up just the way we think we need it to be. Life doesn't operate on some perfectly timed schedule. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Let's face it, if we wait for conditions to be ideal, we might never take that first step. There's always going to be something standing in your way. Maybe it's fear of failure, maybe it's doubt, or maybe it's just the discomfort of stepping into the unknown. But that's the key. The more you wait for the right moment, the more you delay your chance to grow. Look at successful people, whether it's entrepreneurs, athletes, or anyone who's made it to the top. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect before they started. Take someone like Steve Jobs, for example. He didn't wait for the perfect time to create Apple. He didn't wait for a fully polished product or a guarantee that it would work. He just started. He had a vision and he acted on it. Did everything go smoothly? Of course not. There were struggles, failures, and challenges, but he kept moving forward, and because of that, Apple became one of the most valuable companies in the world. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. Even when we think we're prepared, there will always be unknowns, and sometimes those unknowns can turn into obstacles. But when you step into the unknown with action, you start solving those problems as you go. And that's how progress happens. Think about the times in your life when you've held off on something because you were waiting for the right time or the perfect conditions. How often did those moments really come? Chances are they didn't. And even if they did, you might have missed out on great opportunities by waiting too long. Success doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't wait for perfect timing. It waits for you to act. The moment you take that first step, you set the wheels in motion. Every day you wait is a day that could have been spent moving closer to your goals. So stop waiting. Stop looking for the perfect time. Start now and let the action take care of the rest. We all have dreams, big ones, small ones, and everything in between. But here's the reality. Dreams alone don't get you anywhere. A dream is just a vision, a thought in your mind, a possibility that only exists when you think about it. But to turn that dream into something real, you need to do something about it. You need action. Think about it for a second. You can dream about becoming a successful business owner all day, but until you start researching, building, and putting in the work, it's just a dream. You can wish to be fit, but until you get up and start working out, it's not going to happen. Dreams are wonderful. They motivate us, they inspire us, but without action, they remain nothing more than ideas that never take shape. We've all heard the saying, if you can dream it, you can do it. But here's the catch. Doing it requires effort, time, and most importantly, action. No one has ever achieved anything just by dreaming. Take anyone you admire, anyone who has succeeded. They didn't just dream about success. They took steps, made mistakes, and got back up. They built something out of their dreams through hard work, consistency, and effort. Consider the example of J.K. Rowling. She had a dream of becoming a successful author, but the reality was far from easy. She faced rejection after rejection, with many publishers telling her her work wasn't good enough. Yet she didn't stop. She didn't sit back and think, well, this dream is just too hard. No. She kept pushing, kept writing, and eventually her dream became the multi-million-dollar Harry Potter franchise we know today. Or think about someone who dreams of becoming a top athlete. They don't just dream of winning the gold medal. They train every day. They wake up early, put in hours of practice, fight through pain, and continually push themselves beyond their limits. It's not the dream alone that makes them great. It's their willingness to take action and do the work that turns their dream into reality. Your dreams are powerful, but they can only take you so far. Without action, they'll remain just that, dreams. You have to move beyond the thinking, the hoping, and the wishing. You need to put in the work step by step. Only then will your dreams transform into something tangible. So don't just dream, take action. And make those dreams your reality. You'll never be fully ready, and that's okay. We spend so much of our time waiting for the right moment, thinking that once we feel completely prepared, everything will fall into place. But here's the truth. The moment you feel ready, it's probably too late. Life doesn't wait for you to get comfortable, and neither should you. The world moves, and if you don't act now, it'll pass you by. Think about any major achievement in your life. Did you feel 100% ready when you took the leap? Most likely, no. Whether it was starting a new job, launching a project, or even just having a tough conversation with someone, you probably didn't feel fully prepared, but you did it anyway. You pushed yourself into action because you knew that waiting for the perfect moment meant staying stuck. Take the example of anyone who's ever started a business. They don't wait for everything to be perfect. If they did, they would never start. They don't wait for the perfect plan, perfect product, or perfect circumstances. They start with what they have. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's unclear, but they keep moving. They learn on the job. They adapt. That's the beauty of starting before you feel ready. You're building as you go, improving as you learn, and adjusting when things don't go according to plan. We've all seen people who've taken risks, tried things that seemed out of reach, and failed along the way. But did they stay down? No, they kept going. And guess what? They succeeded because they kept learning, improving, and adapting. They realized that being ready is less about having everything figured out and more about being willing to take the first step, even if you're uncertain. Take the example of an athlete preparing for the Olympics. Do they wait until they have the perfect performance before they compete? Absolutely not. They start training even when they're not in their best shape. They push themselves when they're exhausted. They commit to the process, not the outcome. They understand that readiness comes with time, dedication, and progress, not with perfection. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You don't need to wait until everything aligns. Sometimes the best way to be ready is simply to start. Make that first step. You'll figure it out along the way. It's the willingness to begin, even when you don't have all the answers, that leads you to success. Success doesn't care about your age, your experience, or your background. It doesn't care if you've been working on something for years or if you're just starting today. Success cares about one thing: what you do next. It's about your actions in this very moment. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or 60, if you're experienced or a complete beginner. What matters is that you make a move. Let's take a moment to think about some of the most successful people in history. Walt Disney, for example, was fired from a newspaper job for lacking creativity, yet he didn't let that stop him from creating one of the most iconic entertainment empires in the world. He wasn't waiting for approval. He wasn't waiting for the perfect opportunity. He just started. And as he did, he learned, adapted, and grew. Or consider Colonel Sanders. He was 65 years old when he started franchising his chicken recipe. He had faced countless rejections and failures throughout his life, yet he didn't stop. He didn't let age or past failures define his future. He simply kept going, and today we know his name as a symbol of success. What they both understood was this: success isn't about having the perfect qualifications or being in the perfect place at the perfect time. It's about the willingness to take action, even when the odds are stacked against you. And that's what sets successful people apart. They don't wait for life to hand them the perfect situation. They create their own opportunities. Whether they have years of experience or are just starting out, what matters is that they're making things happen right now. They understand that success is not some magical moment that comes to those who are chosen. It's a product of hard work, persistence, and most importantly, action. If you think you're too old, too young, too inexperienced, or too far behind to start, think again. There's no age limit, no experience requirement, and no magic formula. What you need is the determination to take that first step. You need the courage to act, to fail, to learn, and to keep going. Every person who has ever achieved success has done it through consistent action. And you can do the same. All that matters is what you're doing right now. So stop waiting for the perfect time and start taking action, no matter where you are or how much experience you have. Success doesn't care about your past. It cares about what you do next. Failure is not the end of the road. In fact, failure is a vital part of the journey. It's not something to be feared or avoided. It's something to embrace, learn from, and move forward with. The fear of failure holds so many of us back. We worry that if we fail, it will define us, or worse, it will end everything we've worked for. But the truth is, failure doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. Take a look at some of the most successful people in the world. Michael Jordan, often regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was actually cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine how different his life would have been if he had let that failure stop him. Instead of quitting, he used it as motivation. He went on to work harder, improve his skills, and ultimately became a legend. Then there's the story of Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. It took him thousands of experiments before he found the right materials and design to make it work. But here's the kicker. Edison didn't see those failures as setbacks. He famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His ability to look at failure as part of the process of discovery is what eventually led to one of the most groundbreaking inventions of all time. And it's not just in history where failure has played a crucial role. Look at the tech industry today. Companies like Apple, Google, and Amazon didn't rise to success overnight. They faced numerous failures, market crashes, and setbacks, but their founders didn't give up. They learned, they pivoted, and they kept going. The key is not avoiding failure, but understanding that it is a stepping stone towards success. Each failure is an opportunity to learn, to refine, and to improve. It's in those moments when things don't go as planned that we grow the most. Failure forces us to ask questions. What can I do better next time? How can I improve? What did I learn from this? These questions lead to growth and improvement and eventually to success. If you want to achieve something great, you have to be willing to fail. The bigger the dream, the bigger the challenges, and the more failures you're likely to face. But don't let those failures stop you. Let them fuel you. Learn from them and keep moving forward. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, learning from your mistakes, and continuing to push forward, no matter how many times you fall. When you look at successful people, they're not just lucky. They aren't some rare breed who magically get everything right from the start. The truth is, every successful person you've ever heard of has encountered obstacles, setbacks, and challenges that seemed insurmountable. The difference is how they reacted to them. They didn't let challenges break them. They used those challenges as fuel to push themselves further, learn, and grow. And you can do the same. Let's talk about setbacks for a second. There's a misconception that successful people always have it easy, that they've somehow avoided the hard stuff, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Success is built on overcoming obstacles, not avoiding them. It's about facing difficulties head on, learning from them, and moving forward. Look at Steve Jobs, for example. He was fired from the very company he founded, Apple. Think about how devastating that must have been. Here he was, the visionary who built Apple, and suddenly he was out of a job. But did he quit? No. He didn't let that setback define him. Instead, he used the time to reinvent himself. He went on to create Next and Pixar and eventually returned to Apple, transforming it into the tech giant it is today. His journey wasn't a smooth one. It was filled with challenges, failures, and setbacks. But what made him successful was his ability to rise again, adapt, and keep moving forward. Then there's Oprah Winfrey. She faced rejection after rejection early in her career. She was told she wasn't good enough, that she didn't have the right look or personality to make it in television. Many people would have taken that as the final word and walked away, but not Oprah. She kept going. She kept improving. She learned from the feedback, and eventually she became one of the most influential media personalities in history. Oprah's story isn't about an easy rise to fame. It's about resilience, determination, and refusing to let setbacks define her future. It's important to remember that setbacks are a normal part of life. They don't mean you failed. In fact, they often show you're on the right path, because if you're not facing challenges, it probably means you're not pushing yourself hard enough. The bigger the goal, the bigger the obstacles, but the bigger the obstacles, the more you'll learn and the more you'll grow. Consider someone who's training for a marathon. They don't wake up one morning and run 26 miles without effort. There will be setbacks along the way, injuries, bad weather, days when they feel they can't continue. But what makes them a marathon runner is their ability to keep going despite those setbacks. They learn from the tough days, adjust their training, and keep their eyes on the finish line. The setbacks are part of the process. Without them, they wouldn't be prepared for the challenge that awaits them. The same applies to you. Whatever your goals are, whether you want to start a business, become an expert in a field, or accomplish something big, you will face setbacks. But these obstacles aren't there to stop you. They're there to teach you. They're there to show you how strong you are, how resourceful you can be, and how capable you are of handling adversity. When you encounter a setback, don't view it as a roadblock. View it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to come back even stronger. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What do I need to change or adapt? The more you embrace setbacks, the more prepared you'll be for future challenges. And when you push through them, you'll be more confident, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your dreams. Remember, the path to success is never straight. It's full of twists, turns, and bumps along the way. But the key is to keep moving forward, no matter how tough it gets. Challenges are part of the journey. They're not there to stop you. They're there to shape you, to help you grow, and to push you toward greatness. So don't back down when things get hard. Use every challenge as a stepping stone to move forward and continue your journey toward success.